Is it true that you shaped your first board with your mum's kitchen stuff? Mate, when did you first start sailing?
When I was 6.
6? On a little dinghy sort of thing?
Yeah, Sabbo. That was my first smell of it when I was working at the Slipway in Southport.
Mate, what sort of lines and curves do you like in a surfboard?
That's a really good question.
The South African surfer Brett Archibald falls overboard at 2:15 in the morning. I think he was having a leak in the middle of Mentawai Strait. You found him.
Everyone had given up. No one had given up. The heavens let him live.
Welcome to the Green Room, your backstage pass to the world of surfing. I'm your host, surf MC and commentator Terry Tappa, diving into epic wins, crushing fails and wild stories with surfing's biggest names. So wax up, paddle out and join us in the Green Room, where the surf chat never goes flat. G'day folks, welcome to the Green Room. Today's guest I heard about before I actually met him. His legendary status was already there when I was a little grom. A Gold Coast Australian lad, never scared to take a chance, and one of the first to surf Padang Padang, desert points and hundreds, if not more, waves. Now, at the age of 11, surfing Burleigh with the likes of Michael Peterson, Peter Druin, Paul Nelson, Keith Paul, Wayne Dean, Dick Van Stralen, and world champion to be Rabbit. And after multiple Queensland titles, his focus turned to Indonesia and beyond. Undisputed, the best boat captain in Indonesia, many decades of experience in sailing, discovering and surfing the world's most fruitful surfing destinations. His first adventure there was as a teenager. Now the captain and owner of the Raja Alang. Did I say that right? Yep, Raja Alang. If you want to go to Indo, he's your man. Welcome to the Green Room, Tony Doris Eltherington. Mate, so have you been on the Gold Coast since you were born, sort of thing? Yep, straight away. Southport boy.
No, I was born in Brisbane.
You're born in Brizzy?
My parents lived here. And Mum went a little visit up to Brizzy to my mum's.
And so you end up being a Brizzy?
Yeah, I'm a full Brizzy.
I can tell, mate. You look the part. Yeah, blowing. Mate, so what was it like being a teenager on the Gold Coast back then in the 60s, you know, surfing? You know, how was it then, you know? A young bloke on the Goldie living at Southport.
Pretty paradise. Amazing. Greenmount, Rainbow, all that stuff. Incredible.
And, mate, you were surfing Burleigh with Druin and all those guys. Like, that was when you were a young bloke. That's what I read there. With mate, how was that, surfing with those older guys and you're only a bit of a pup?
Educational.
Yeah, what the boys did, was it hard work? Like, you know, like, did they put it on you sort of thing, or did they give you a break?
They were so good and scrapping out amongst themselves. If you got the leftovers, me and Rossi Phillips and Pete, Harry and all them, we were kind of happy.
Yeah, just to get the scraps. Leftovers. Well, I remember when I was a kid, I think it was at about 16 or so, they stopped dropping in on me every wave. Like, it wasn't... Right. It was every second wave they dropped in on me, but, you know, I thought that was an achievement when the boys stopped dropping in on me at Burleigh.
Yeah.
And, mate, how old when you started surfing?
About 8.
About 8.
When the Beatles came to Australia.
Oh, wow. And, mate, did you, is it true? Like, I read somewhere that you used to paddle from Southport across the Broadwater to go for a surf.
Did. From Lotus Creek over to near the Southport Yacht Club. Me and my brother to go surfing.
That was on Malibu's?
Yeah. We actually had a balsa board we used to have to share, and then we got another board off a guy named Langley Kidby. He ended up driving a biplane around the world, circumnavigating the world on it. So he's a really good family friend. So it had like the Japanese flag on it. So...
On a biplane?
He had the Japanese flag on the board.
On the board, all right, yeah.
It might have been one of Alan Curtin's boards. I can't remember. Yeah. It could have been a Hono. But he was very inspiring to us all, Langley, because he was always up and at it on something, some adventure. And he ended up in National Geographic doing all this crazy flying over the Himalayas, Nepal, and circumnavigated the world in a biplane.
Well, and so did you find that with yourself, that sort of, did that inspire you? You sort of love to travel? Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, that's, mate, you've definitely done a bit of that. Now, mate, how was like Burleigh, Kira, etc. in the 60s to 70s? Because I never saw that. Oh, well, I was alive, but I never saw that, like...
The surf or the
surf
environment?
The surf.
Oh, the surf is amazing. Every day when you're a kid on Christmas, Easter holidays was amazing when you had sunburnt nose and lips and back up to Marty's caravan in Burleigh Park there, and what a life. Looking for koalas just up the end of the street, right behind the caravan park.
Yeah.
Plenty.
Not now.
Not now? They're gone, are they?
Oh, I don't think there might be one or two, but I haven't seen them, mate. It was pretty idyllic then, wasn't it? It was not too much to worry about. It was beautiful place. I just remember when I was a little kid, the Goldie was like, it didn't exist one block past the highway.
No. Not at all.
Mate, back in those days, did you ever surf, when you're Southport, were you surfing the river entrance or not back then?
Like in the 60s, 70s?
Yeah, 70s. No, not till later.
Not till later.
Yeah.
We were surfing Southport Bar before they put the rock wall in, which was about 83, I think, was it? 84?
Yeah.
But before that, we surfed Southport Bar. Rob Bromley and my brother and me. It was sort of like Uluwatu too.
I surfed it once and it put the wind up me. It was pretty solid. It was like, long way out too.
Yeah.
I think that was with Gary Bolson and Dietzy and that maybe back in the day. But, mate, 2 Queensland titles in a row and a 7th of the Pipe Masters. Did you, mate, you're a well-known competitive surfer, but you didn't really follow that up too much, or?
Nah. That Peter McCabe and myself sort of bombing out at Middleton and South Oz and...
Dribbleton.
And getting sick at Bells, and we're going to Bali was the call. My friend Bobby Knight showed me this amazing photo of him going left at Cooter Reef. Of course, we saw the photos of, I think, Mark Warren and Ian Cairns and, of course, Druin and Steve Cooney and that. But Bobby sort of cemented it, you got to go. And we did. And Peter and I went. And that sort of tipped the contest fever away.
It would have. So Bobby had a big influence on your future direction as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
BK,
Wilbur talks highly of him.
Yeah. Bobby.
And why'd you call him Bobby, sorry.
I used to just love Ulu Bommy.
Ah.
And he had these big Mitchells, the big purple ones, and he'd always be sitting out there.
And, mate, how was Ulu's and Padang in those early days, mate? Like, no leg rapes, was there?
75 there was leg ropes. Because Rick and Paul were giving me surfboards, and Gordon and Tracy Richmond and Richard Matthews, they sort of introduced them to Burleigh.
Which you needed them at Burleigh, otherwise your board was stuffed.
Well, no one ever used to use them, and then, of course, Rick and Paul didn't want to be going wasting all their cash on me breaking surfboards every week on the rocks at Burleigh, and it was like you're either putting one of them things on or you're paying.
I don't want to pay.
There was a lot of guys held out to the end, but of course inevitably it took over, and that really lifted up the crowds out in the points of the Gold Coast and pretty well everywhere.
Yeah, I remember
the whole world.
Yeah, my dad wouldn't let me use a leggy until I think urethanes came out. He thought they were dangerous, and he grew up not with leg ropes, and he just said, "Nah, you're not." And I surfed in Miami board riders with Dennis Callanan. Yep. No leg ropes allowed in contests, and that was well into the 70s. Then that was well towards the end, but yeah, it started the crowds, and it was like people think, oh, okay, the points were uncrowded, but they were still pretty crowded back in the 70s. I think the mid 70s anyway, mid to late 70s.
It was crowded.
Yeah.
At Kira and Burleigh.
Yeah.
And aggressively crowded. There was a pecking order that you didn't stand up. You didn't go climbing over.
Yeah.
Keith and Nielsen's and Druin and Peter Evans, he was amazing. Dick Van. And that was good, the Burley thing, because it was Dick Van's show, the Nielsen's show, and Druin's and Richard Harvey's, plus others, but they were the main board builders and totally different scenes in each team. It was pretty. Dick was the alternative outside thinker, and Paul was the competitive animal that he was, and won a lot of stuff and surfed amazing sunset in Hawaii, and he won it.
Yeah.
MP was the man, but Paul and Richard were also a lot of strong results.
Paul's the one that gave you the nickname, wasn't he?
I don't know. Butch did.
Paul Butch did.
Someone else did.
Yeah, everybody did.
Doris.
But you gave him one back, didn't you? Did you nickname him Smelly? That's what I read somewhere. That nah. Hey, mate. Now shaping. Of course, you're a well-known shaper. Regardless, mate, is it true that you shaped your first board with your mum's kitchen stuff?
Pretty much.
How was mum with that?
She was all right, because my kind of second cousin, Wayne Jones, I don't know if he's my cousin, is my dad's best mate in the Navy. He's a carpenter. But Wayne's dad had always building us sabos, building fishing boats, building everything at Labrador. And we all had, I had Hono's Mells, and we cut them down. Wayne started cutting them down, like the late 60s, cutting those beautiful Mells down. I guess it was before trackers, around that time. But we were hacking them out with it.
So why did you guys cut them down? Was it so you could turn more, or what?
Cut them down because the Mells were finished.
Or over.
Because Nat and everyone, McTavish and Tony Dempsey, plus whoever else.
Yeah. Everybody claims they made the first one, don't they?
The first shortboard. Well, I seen a great photo of Tony Dempsey with such a small board and such a long time ago. And he doesn't hold credit on it because that's what Tony's like. Yeah. But, no, longboards are over.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess by 1970 at Bells, when Rolf won it, Rolf Arness, he rode a 7.3 or something, and Druin and Nat and everyone were riding 5.10s, 5.8s.
Wow. That's a big difference.
Yeah.
That's huge. Mate, now who are your shaping influences? Once you got going, I remember seeing you were working at Hono's old place. Well, that might have been Miami Surf Designs when I was in.
Surf Design.
Yeah, and Brothers Nelson, did you shape there as well?
Yeah, my dad thanked Ricky for putting a planer in my hand and teaching me some kind of skill for such a useless prick. And no, it's good. Ricky was a great influence. Richard Harvey. Dick Van opened my eyes to just let anything happen with it all, even glassing. Dick let us run free with it all. The whole mob that were hanging around back then with Silly and Dave McDougall and Craig and Rossi Phillips and everyone. Dick was very open to letting us all have a go. And Pete Harris was shaping there a bit. And me and Dick used to show us a fair bit, and still does.
Yeah, he's still kicking.
I still
Dick.
got another board off him last year, and I got 4 other boards stacked away of his. Wow. And about 4 or 5 Richard Harveys.
That's pretty cool from a bloke who makes his own board.
I still order boards off Richard Harvey and Dick.
Well, they don't do many now. They're sort of very restricted in what they do. They seem to, as in they don't want to do a lot, but they seem to can't leave the shaping bay. No,
just doing them when they want to.
Mate, what sort of lines and curves do you like in a surfboard? What's what
Same as a good woman. I don't know, mate.
You don't know. You just you know.
Fits the curve.
Yeah.
Big concaves. It all depends. I do these Mentawai midnights, and they're pretty much, look a bit like that one there.
Yeah.
Without
those channel things.
Ian's channels. But a lot of concave and spirally concave V with a big camel toe down the middle of them. Pretty down rails and stuff. They're made for like Greenbush and the Hole and sort of clean, solid Mentawai surf.
Well, that's probably what you're surfing most of the time, is it?
Yeah,
now?
we are.
Yeah.
Get that Sumatran oil, and that's what we're chasing.
Ah, sick. And mate, when did you, was that?
Bit spoilt, Terry.
Yes, you would be, mate. When did you first start sailing?
When I was 6.
6. On a little dinghy sort of thing.
Yeah, a Sabo. We sailed competitively. Me and my brother and Steve Gregory, one of my best mates, old prawn skipper from Stratty. We all grew up together, competitively sailing Sabos. So we pretty much sailed and nicked off when we should have been at the yacht club body surfing on anything.
Yeah.
Like bits of plywood, blow-up rubber mats, Coolite boards, whatever we could get hold of, zippy boards, anything. And then we had to get back by 2 to go in the sail race. And by the time we were fried. And then that just turned into building boats with my brother. And, we had bigger boats. And then as the older we got, we built boats. And then I built another steel boat and sailed that off to Newcastle a bit and up the reef, and then sold my surf shop one day in about 96 and went, I'm out of here. I'm sick of going right.
So you decided to go find some lefts.
Well, after so many years, I've kept flying back to Indo and sailing around there with other friends' boats. It was time to just leave.
Yeah.
If I come back broke in a year, so what?
Yeah.
I haven't come back.
You haven't come back, still going there.
28 years ago.
Who clued you into the men's? Or did you just go and have a look?
That's a really good question. Paul Vitko, that used to run the Slipway, was sailing there by himself in 1971. So that was my first smell of it when I was working at the Slipway in Southport. Paul telling me about Sapura and Siberut, there's waves there, because he got arrested because it's a bit illegal to. They were pretty full on about security after the Second World War. So that was like 1970.
And they were still about security and then, about the second.
It was hard to get a sailing permit, even up to like in the 70s. It was hard to get a CAIT, C-A-I-T, security clearance. And then Mullet, Tony Pastramo kept going, he was always Mr. Nias. So, you got to go down that Tallow group. Oh, that Mentawai's got to have waves, da-da-da-da. And that was like early 80s. And then Lance Knight, he was welding on my boat, and I think he was having some marital issues or whatever. He's going, you got to come with me. I got this chart. Have a look at this. It's got to be this stuff. It's got to be happening here. This is like 82, 3.
Wow.
And that's when he got the, what did he do? He got the ferry out to Tuapajet and then went down to Cadiet, whereas now Lance is right.
Yeah.
Lance is left, or HTs, as
Yeah.
Kingy called it. But that was probably the words I got. I didn't go north a lot for a long time to Mentawais and Simaloo or any of that stuff, because everyone that was going, not everyone, there were a fair few of the mates that were going to Nias and whatever were dying of cerebral malaria.
Oh, right.
So
That's
I was going east, looking at finding places sort of Desert Point and Super Suck Scar and beyond, and down hunting down Sumba with David Wiley, who was amazing. So, Timor and doing all that stuff.
So would you have seen any other boats or any other surfers? No, just so you just rock up and here's this pristine wave with nobody. Bay.
Yeah, and we knew nothing.
Yeah.
We knew nothing.
So what's it like paddling into a wave like that? Do you paddle up? Did you like anchor in and paddle up, look at it, or did you come in from behind? What sort of?
Some of them you're going to anchor. Some of you got to anchor behind. You really don't know what you're in for
Till you stand up.
Till you're standing up, or if you got the good rubber dinghy, you can try and get around in front of it and check it out. But most of the surf places I've found are all pretty well found from fishing.
Yeah.
Trolling and going popping for GTs and stuff, and you go, there's a keyhole there, and you just wait and get going back, and that right swell will hit, and there's a surf break.
And mate, you reckon there's still spots that people haven't found out there? Yeah. There's spots of yours that people haven't found?
I don't know. Maybe.
Mate, 2003, Martin Daly gave you the opportunity to be on the Indies, just skipper the Indies trader. How was that, mate?
Really good.
That's pretty.
I thank Martin very highly for that. No, he gave me a great opportunity that I've kept going. And I worked with Martin for about 9 years or something. In 2011, they brought the foreign flag rego in, no more foreign boats.
All right, so you had to have an Indo flag.
Had to have an Indo flag boat with Indonesian skippers, engineers and BST, basic safety trained crew, jobs for the crew.
Yeah.
And we ended up surf guides, and then that sort of, we had, white chefs and all that stuff too, but the Indonesians do quite a good job each and every time, so... Yeah, no, thanks, Martin. It's amazing. Did a fair few miles with Martin out in the Marshalls and Papua and West Papua and Papua New Guinea and Mentawais, and yeah, that was pretty far out.
You would have had a few guests on that, mate. Some pretty well-known guests on that. Some of the pros and all that on that one.
Oh, yeah.
On the adventures.
Heaps of them. Owen Wright and... What's his mate's name? Goofy.
Matty Wilco.
Matty Wilco.
Yeah.
They were just kids when we took them to Papua. They shredded. They're just really young. But we've had everyone on there, They're great guys, Laird and Andy and Dingo and Mick and piles of them.
Yeah.
Good blokes. They're pretty easy.
So most of the people you've had on the boat, you haven't had much trouble. You ever had it like on your boat, someone you've had to go like, oi, pull up, mate?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah? Because that's my worst nightmare about being a boat. Only twice. Because that's my worst nightmare of being a boat and just having one guy as a complete fuckwit, basically.
Yeah, well, only twice when the guys slap one of the crew, which is...
Whoa.
That's where it's just the end of the line when... drinking too much, but you hit the crew, you can go to jail for 30 days anyway, so that's when I've had to put a couple of them on the beach.
Just
only twice out of a long time.
That's yeah. Well, so how long you been captaining boats in the Ments now? Like, fuck, you've been going for long enough.
20 years.
20 years.
Something years.
Wow, that's 2 in 20 years. Is pretty damn good.
24 years.
Yeah. Wow.
It's 2025, isn't it?
Yeah. Mate, you're not the only one, eh? I tell you, I'm forgetting where the years are going. Mate, what's the biggest change you've seen in the Mentawais over the years? The biggest change, the number of boats, or?
Oh, there's a lot of surf camps up in Playground Group, and Tappa Jet's got the new airports extended, but the planes are too big or don't hold enough room for surfboards. There's a lot of homestays mushrooming up, and I wish them all the best, especially the ones that are parked their ass right on the beach, because we've seen our share of what can happen up there.
Yeah. So, what's the craziest thing you've seen? Like accidents or at sea sort of thing.
I mean, like from tsunamis, or you mean from people getting physically annihilated?
Oh, just, like wrecks or, even tsunamis, same thing, sort of thing.
There's boats shipwrecked, mate. There's boats lit on fire. There's tsunamis have taken the Mentawais out. The tsunami took out, like the big one that took Thailand out, that took all Simalu out. And massive earthquakes wrecking really good waves and making other waves improve them. Me and Martin reckon the Mentawais is dropping. South Pagai is kind of dropping a bit. And people will disagree with us, and I don't care.
Yeah. Well, you're out there looking at it every day, I suppose, or first 9 months a year or something.
Yeah.
Mate, I know you've probably talked about this 1,000 times, but 2013, the South African surfer Brett Archibald falls overboard at 2:15 in the morning. I think he was having a leak in the middle of Mentawai Strait, and it wasn't discovered for the next day. And a lot of people are giving up for lost. And you found him. How did Tony was telling me something? You threw something in the water or something, or to know which way to go?
Coconuts and stuff. Yeah, and some palm fronds, are they? Just to check people are thinking the tide's running continually south, but it wasn't, and it was running north, which it does up there. If you look on windy current maps, you'll see it's the south, but there's eddies of north closer and changes, just like out here on the east coast. But that was quite a interesting thing. I just did a lot of praying because my sister had just died, and a guy named Dave Kinder, our mentor, is like the Superman of boats, sat diver, underwater welder, shipwright, eat engineers for breakfast and captains, just all round amazing person. And he just conked out on us too. So I'm just asking those two, we got to find this guy because everyone had given up, but I wasn't giving up. And I figured he was triathlete, and he had a couple of little kids, 8 years old, 9 years old. And when I heard he was a triathlete, I sort of gave the guy a fair bit more. I had more confidence he'd be alive.
Yeah.
Because he's fit.
Yeah.
And the heavens let him live, mate.
What was it like? Did you spot him from a long way away, or were you pretty close when you actually spotted him?
We spotted him we nearly ran him over.
Oh, wow.
We sent all the boys out and did a grid, because we'd just been doing oil and gas work, and sent them out 5 mile apart and going, I said, we're all going north. I was trying to run the show.
Yeah.
And we were last because we were in Barrenjoey. It was the slowest. And all the other boats went out a mile apart, and then we head north. That was just my prediction. I was getting screamed at by some of the guests. Fair enough. They're good maritime guys. And I just had this thing that he's that way, not that way.
Yeah.
And we just, everyone turn. We're all in communication and radios. And then we get going and, there he was.
Well, he must have been pretty rapt to see you, blokes.
I think I turned another 20 degrees. I told the Indo skipper on Barrenjoey, just turn another 15, 20, mate. Don't know why.
Yeah.
And here's this red dome.
Because he was bald, wasn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, he is fried. He was cooked. There he was.
Wow.
So he got another chance, which is great for his wife and kids. I was stoked for him.
Yeah, full needle in a haystack, but it's just sometimes I suppose you just go with your feelings, and that's what you suppose when you're out at sea, that's all you can do.
That's about all it was, really. It's like it was going against, we got to go south. It was howling 25 to 35 northwesters the night before, and the tide, blah, 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 but I went north. So I guess we're lucky we did. We only had a couple of hours left.
Yeah, well, that's 3 days, wasn't it? He's in the water.
29 hours. But the sports medicine guy said he probably would have gone into shock after about 32 hours.
Wow.
Like dehydrated.
Yeah.
Like sun, dehydrated, shock, freaking out, whatever.
Seagulls trying to get his eyeballs.
Seagulls, a couple of sharks had a crack at him.
Wow. You still, you hear from him ever?
Now and then,
Yeah.
sends me a happy birthday kind of thing.
Yeah.
Happy he's alive.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Every April.
That's unreal, mate. So, yeah, obviously, if you're on a boat, don't go have a piss at the back of the boat. Hold on to something.
Piss over the back of the boat. Go to the toilet. Only when it's rough.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Mate, like, you've been, like, doing this for a long time. When you, like, first started going to Ments and Bali and all that, did you ever think you'd be still doing that 40 years on, or was that what you always wanted
50.
to do? 50. 50, yeah.
Yeah, me and McKay were talking about the other day, it's 50, 75.
Wow.
No. I don't know. No.
Just keep going, day after
Just
day.
keep paddling, mate.
Yeah.
There's only 3 waves in the surf.
Well, over there.
If you don't use it, you'll lose it, mate.
Yeah, that's it. That's fully, yeah. You got
Don't
to.
you reckon? You got to just go out.
Oh, well, that's
I
I go
just
out every day.
out.
Yeah. You have
I'll
to.
go out of Burleigh, go and see Carcass there, Butch.
Yeah.
And I'm going for a surf, yes.
You got to get to your feet every day. I
Just
find
go,
that.
stumble over those rocks and paddle out and it's still a nice look up there at Jalurgal. I love it.
Yeah.
I love looking up there. I don't give a shit about all the high rise. There's nothing you and I can do about that with Uncle Tommy.
Yeah.
And he's fucking turning that bowling club in the bloody driveway or something, turn the buses around now. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's not go down that rabbit hole.
No, we've been, mate. Of all the waves that you've found, which is your favourite one that you've actually you've discovered that you can tell me, or tell everybody?
I don't know.
Don't know.
No, because this really good surfer from Nicaragua kept yelling at Martin or agitating on Trader 4, the one with the helicopter we were running. Going, what are you doing naming places? And I'm going, I don't know. He goes, what do you mean I don't know? I go, I don't know. So I walked off and got a coffee, and because this guy, JJ was going, Doris forgot this place, IDKs. And Martin's going, you fucking idiot. IDKs.
I don't know. Yeah.
And that's what I said to him. I don't know. I'm not naming anything.
No. So you don't know. You just know where they are on the chart.
IDK's 1, IDK's 2.
And mate, someone goes goes on your charter with you. Like basically, they land at Padang, is it?
Yeah.
That's yep.
Yeah.
And then you pick them up and they go out there. How long does it take to get out to waves and that from where?
10, 12 hours.
10, 12 hours.
Yeah.
And do you always just go you go to the known spots, or do you go whatever's going to do the best waves?
I try and go where no one else is.
I like that.
And it's like a bit of a Scrabble game and cat and mouse and pulling up anchors halfway through the night with no lights on and
sneaking off.
Yeah.
Because they'd follow you, I suppose, eh?
Well, I get followed a bit. But, we try and sneak around. We still get waves by ourselves.
Yeah, because I can't understand people paying like whatever it is, $4 or $5 or whatever, and then going surfing with 60 blokes at HTs. I just don't understand that, you know. Yeah. Well, I know it's a great wave, but like fuck.
They built a road down there now from the airport. So, I mean, you got to understand Indonesians. Tappa, they see Kuta.
Yeah, that's what they want.
And, well, they want some of that pie, mate.
Yeah.
And I totally don't blame them.
Yeah, I can see that, yeah.
They see Kuta, like leg yarn and a lot of wealth and tourism and
mate, I heard
that, which is fine. It's their show, mate. It's their country.
I heard you were doing something as well with a bit of a rescue thing as well then, like doing some helping out the people in the islands. Do you sort of get involved in that sort of thing?
Always.
Yeah.
We're collecting glasses at the moment. Mel from World Safaris and little kids from Currumbin State School and the the young crew from, I think, Palm Beach, Currumbin High.
Yeah.
I think the young, grade 8ers are doing it. And we get a box or two of glasses, take back the Mentawais, and we give it to those people, mate, and they're just so stoked.
That's cool.
But they don't have an optometrist there.
Yeah.
And their eyes aren't that good. They haven't got electricity down South Parguy. So we sort of look after the crew down south there. They're pretty cool.
That is good, mate. That's good to give back, because that's I do that catch a wave thing. I do that every year to try and raise some money, to help out with just basic stuff. I think some of them struggle with sanitation and fresh water, that sort of thing, or clean water.
Yeah. Surf Aid used to do a pretty good job, educating about that infant death and the toilets too close to the wells and the pigs in the too close to the water supply and blah, blah, blah. They do, people do come across issues with that, white guys trying to tell the elders of the village how to run their culture, which they don't really like all the time, which is fair enough.
Yeah.
It's their show.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
But, there's a lot of people trying to help out the local crews around there.
And mate, what do you see as the future for that group, that area? Can you see it? It's just going to go gangbusters and bigger, or less boats and more stays?
I think that's what a lot of people would like.
Yeah, less boats, yeah.
Yeah. But when that 60 to 80 footer comes through, they really want all the boats they can to come and save them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like we have, like Quicksilver and Rip Curl and Billabong and Martin Daly and all the operators, or most of them, have contributed to coming to help out.
When the tsunamis and that.
When the tsunamis are taken out.
Yeah.
The villages and killed everyone.
And so they're the first responders.
They're pretty much first loaded up and out they go. And then, of course, the Indonesian government get into it also. And there's Doctors Without Borders. And, people hang shit on... Well, I shouldn't say that. You can edit that bit. They used to hang it on Angela Jolie and Brad Pitt and that. But, the last big earthquake that flattened the Mentawais, not tsunami, but the earthquake, smashed it. She paid for 5 boats.
They cool. They don't have to do that.
You don't hear about it.
No.
They're not big notice about it. And supplied all the Doctors Without Borders and medical supplies and psychologists and Indonesians.
Yeah.
And all that sanitary stuff, like talking about shovels and pure water purifying, and then with together with the Indonesian government and making them move up the hill.
Yeah, so that doesn't happen again. Yeah,
to relocate, for when the tsunamis come and blah blah, and those earthquakes.
Yeah, because I noticed that when I went to PNG, they were all low, and you can see where these swells coming. It's taken out everything, and they've moved a little bit up the hill. Well, not too much, but a little bit.
It's a big one.
Yeah. Mate, that's it's been great to hear, mate. Is there anything else you'd like to say about that like people should do when they go to the Mentawais or Indonesia, that sort of thing? Is anything like as far as culture goes and that sort of thing, respect wise, or
just chill, mate?
Just chill.
Enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
Say hi to the local crew. They're going to come up to you in a canoe. Give them a pair of board shorts. Give them a block of wax.
And many surfers, actually, they just bring me many kids surfing there in the Ments. There's
Roxy's and up in the playgrounds there's quite a lot of kids surfing. Tappa Jet, there's quite a few. Roxy's, there's a few. They're all good kids.
That's great. People give them boards, or?
People give them boards and whatnot.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, they're coming along. That's about it with it all. We just, I get a lot of medical supplies off people, good blokes like Gav Clark and doctors and stuff. So, the poor old local guys coming up with their canoe and half their arm hanging off, we deal with them.
Oh, wow. Well, which I suppose is only a respectful, good thing to do.
Well, you just got to help them out, which we do. Because it's a long way from down south up to Sikakap, and the midwives and doctors there are amazing. They're pretty good. They're really good. They do a lot of sewing.
Wow. Well, that's an amazing little chat, mate. And all the stuff you've done over 50 years, mate. It's a pleasure to hear about it, mate. And I'm looking forward. I'm gonna come in with you sometime. I think very shortly.
Send you a schedule. We got plenty of spots.
And how do they just look up? What do they look up
Tony
if people want?
and surf charters.
Okay, cool.
My daughter looks after all that because I'm hopeless.
But you're the man you want in charge anyway. Drive the boat.
She knows about the bookings.
Thanks, mate. Congratulations.
Right.
Well done. Thanks. Welcome to the Green Room. Thanks for tuning into the Green Room. A big thank you to our guests for sharing their stories and insights, our producer Sarah, and Podfire for bringing this podcast to life. Don't forget to subscribe, like, leave a review, and share the Green Room with your friends. We'll catch you next time for more conversations with the legends of surf and beyond. Until then, catch you in the waves.